Good morning and welcome back to the Morning Commute with Hopi living in the city. I hope you are well. It is a beautiful Thursday morning and we are at 57 degrees. So let's sit back, take a ride. I had a partial cup of coffee earlier, or guppy. I had some guppy this morning, but I didn't get to finish it. And so the missus packed me a to-go mug. We also worked as a team to make some breakfast, and we had some leftovers, so I'm bringing breakfast and lunch. The savings are going toward my goal of some more tools, I guess. That's a good goal. If you want something, then I guess just try to figure out a way to save for it. Because I want one of those ratchets that you can fit into tight spaces. And then eventually I want to get me a bigger impact wrench, one of the, I think it's a 1/2 inch or 3/4, or I don't know what it is, 1/2 inch I think. The one that can break loose your lug nuts without a breaker bar. Look at someone's little house. But yeah, that's what's going on. Actually, I was gonna say I went 2 days without coffee, but yesterday I did get a cup of coffee from Circle K, but that was like $2.50 something cents. So you just buy your coffee at home and you get a better deal if you make it by the cafe, and you can take a whole bunch. But sometimes I feel like we don't drink all of it, and so it just end up just pouring it out. But these guys are headed southbound, eastbound, however you want to say it. Technically headed south. Work or someplace further, traveling. So put in the comments what you all did for spring break. You know, it's just getting over. First week back after spring break. Had the grandkids come down with their great grandma, and they went to the zoo, they went to the mall, and just hung out. We also went to a birthday dinner. But yeah, let's see what's going on the news today.
Ellsberg has extended his deadline until noon today.
Stocks soared on Wall Street yesterday after the Federal Reserve voted to keep interest rates where they are for now. The Fed saying there is the possibility for a short-term rise in prices later this year due to the Trump administration's tariff policies. We get the latest from ABC's Alexis Christoforous.
Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, said a few things that really got investors excited. Despite the fact that the Fed believes that there's some uncertainty surrounding the economy, they still are projecting 2 interest rate cuts at some point this year. And in fact, Chairman Powell said that even though he expects inflation to go up from here for a little bit, mostly due to those tariffs, he expects that to be transitory.
The EP administrator is working to address high ozone levels in Maricopa County. Lee Zeldin says the county has a good problem because people and businesses want to move here, and the state shouldn't be punished for that.
This is topic number 1 on next week's meeting internally with our team to talk about this issue.
Maricopa County at risk of being redesignated as serious for ozone non-attainment.
6 of Arizona's snowplows have new names thanks to the creative minds of, well, you.
Darth Later. That's one of the 6 winners in this year's Name a Snowplow contest. The yearly event, hosted by the Arizona Department of Transportation, got 2,100 submissions in January. Pliosaurus Rex was another winner, along with Blizzard of Oz, Scoop Dog, and Control Salt Delete. Oh well, there's also Fleetwood Mac. It's the third time the contest has been held. Arizonans cast 1,400 votes to pick the winners. For more details, go to KTAR.com. Serena O'Sullivan, KTAR News.
Coming up next on Arizona's Morning News, will the two best-known progressive members of the Democratic Party holding a rally in our state bring voters back into the Democratic fold?
We'll find out. First, let's find out what's happening on the roads with John Roller live in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Well, Madonna, we've got a power outage in Gilbert this morning, and the Gilbert Police Department want to give folks a heads up if you're just heading down the highway this morning. Chandler Heights and Riggs Road, Val Vista, and Higley. That square area there is without power this morning, and that means that the traffic lights are shut down right now. Treat each intersection as a four-way stop, and as Detour Dan used to say, always keep your neck on a swivel there. That is in Gilbert this morning. Also, we have a crash not far from there, Power and Ray Road. Look for restrictions there. Westbound I-10 in the West Valley. We had an early morning crash right at the Avondale Boulevard off-ramp. That ramp is still closed. Heads up there, but all lanes are open if you are headed out to California on the westbound I-10. Eastbound side of the I-10, normal slowing starting to build now from Avondale Boulevard coming into downtown Phoenix. You'll have stop and go right at the 101 Agua Fria transition. If you're coming southbound on the 101, you've got slowing starting at Thomas Road as you make the transition to the eastbound I-10. Phoenix Fire mopping up after an apartment fire this morning. Look for restrictions on Northern Avenue between 19th and 15th Avenue if you are headed over to the I-17 this morning. Traffic is brought to you by Asset Preservation Wealth and Tax. Join Stuart Willis for the Asset Preservation Hour each week as he empowers and educates those in or near retirement. Saturdays at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. and Sundays again at 2 p.m. right here at KTAR. John Roller, KTAR News.
Today we are expecting a high of 82 degrees on the first full day of spring. It's going to be sunny, but we're working our way up to close to 90. Weather's brought to you by Howard Air. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air.
Hi, it's Jess, the co-founder of Bodify. Are you still struggling with fat? Are you ready for real results? Bodify is bringing you the ultimate fat-blasting combo. We're now offering semaglutide, the game changer everyone's raving about. For a limited time, Cool Sculpting clients get up to $2,000 off, plus your first month of semaglutide for just $99. Don't miss out. This offer won't last. Visit freezemeaz.com to lock in your savings. That's freezemeaz.com.
As most of you know,
Greenpeace's stance in the suit is that it did support the protests, including through sending supplies and funding nonviolent training for protesters, but that its involvement was very marginal and that it never supported or engaged in the kind of property damage that Energy Transfer says it did. And right after the jury issued its verdict, some attorneys with Greenpeace also reiterated that the movement was led by the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and that Greenpeace was never a major organizing force on the ground. As for the defamation claims, Greenpeace has maintained that all of the statements that were attributed to it during the lawsuit were circulated by other organizations before it ever said a word, but that also all of the statements were credible.
Now, Energy Transfer here is a big winner. What have they said about the verdict?
Their attorneys after the verdict, of course, were very happy. They said that justice had won. And I think they've also kind of maintained throughout the case and also said afterwards that, you know, the company isn't against protesting, but that they just don't want it to be illegal. And so this was kind of in their view, a win for the rule of law.
So they're saying they're not against protesting, but they want it to be done legally. Does Greenpeace have the money here to pay this, and how will it impact them just in the few seconds we have left?
Greenpeace has said before that they kind of feared this verdict would sink them. Yesterday afternoon, however, their attorneys gave more of an indirect answer. They said simply that they would keep fighting.
Mary Stoyer is a reporter at the North Dakota Monitor. Thank you for joining us, Mary.
Thank you.
And this is Morning Edition on KJZZ. We'll have the Marketplace Morning Report coming up for you in about 10 minutes. Another entry in the report series looking at the economics of going to the rodeo today. What lessons that livestock bring imparts on our youth. We'll hear about that, plus all the day's business news at 5:52 in Marketplace here on 91.5.
Frontier's desk reporting on KJZZ is made possible in part with support from the Ford Foundation.
Show this morning at 10 a.m.
And good morning to you. It's 5:42 in the KTAR Business Center. I'm LaDonna Harvey along with Jim Sharp. A new luxury community at the base of Camelback Mountain is being planned. According to partners at the Phoenix Business Journal, the project is being built by Seattle-based Olson Kundig. It'll be called Ascent at the Phoenician. It'll have 63 condos, 4 penthouses. The condos set you back about $2.3 million, and the penthouses $7 to $10 million.
On Wall Street right now, Dow futures down 153, S&P down 20, the Nasdaq's down 93. For more money news, visit the Business Center at KTAR.com.
KTAR News Flash.
And at 5:43, this is what you need to know right now. Yesterday, we saw the resumption of Arizona's death penalty following a 2-year pause. Aaron Gunches was executed by lethal injection more than 20 years after killing a man named Ted Price.
The Pentagon evaluating plans to take control of swaths of land along the southwest border to create a buffer zone between the U.S. and Mexico and give troops an area to temporarily hold migrants.
Snowy roads, no match for Darth Blader. That's one of the many names Arizona voters loved in Name a Snowplow, the contest. Some of the other winners are Scoop Dog, Blizzard of Oz, Fleetwood Mac, Control-Delete. Go to KTAR.com for more winners. All of our top stories just 15 minutes away. For more news, KTAR.com and the KTAR News app.
Here's a quick update from John Roller in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. Power outage in Gilbert this morning, and this is the square area of Chandler Heights and Riggs Road, Val Vista, and Higley. The power is out there, and so are the traffic lights. Heads up, treat each intersection as a four-way stop. Westbound I-10, crash at the Avondale Boulevard off-ramp, 7th Avenue and Broadway this morning. 7th Avenue, both directions, northbound, southbound, closed right at Broadway. Avoid that area. John Roller, KTAR News.
Sunny skies with a high of 82 today. Clear and a low of 50 tonight. Weather is brought to you by Howard Air and Plumbing. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air and Plumbing.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will hold an anti-Trump rally at ASU today called Fighting Oligarchy. Here's Sanders in Detroit explaining the point of these rallies.
After so many people in our country have fought and died for democracy, that we are going to stay a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Joining us, Democratic political consultant Stacey Pearson of Lumen Strategies. Stacey, a new Quinnipiac poll shows 53% of voters disapprove of Trump's job performance, but a CNN poll shows less than a third of Americans view Democrats favorably. Will rolling out the two most famous Democratic progressives bring people back into the fold?
Ooh, it worries me in Arizona. We are 100,000 Democrats down in the state of Arizona. And that is just raw registration numbers between 2020 and 2024. So having the farthest left flank fly into the state is a risk. And certainly having one of those members be 83 years old. And I think so many, we talk about losing the youth vote. So many of the young voters, I was literally at ASU yesterday talking to them, don't want to get yelled at by an 83-year-old man.
So if sending super liberal Democrats, I don't think anybody wants to yell at by an 83-year-old man.
It happens to me every day, man.
Oh, yeah, that's true. With your dad, right? So,
Good point.
If sending super liberal Democrats on a tour of the country is not the answer, Stacey, where does the Democratic Party need to go? I mean, more in the direction of, like, Arizona Democrats, like Mark Kelly?
Yes, Arizona Democrats do things right, and we continue to say this. You can be in favor of border security and be humane to immigrants. You can do both. I mean, we can talk about public safety in our communities and talk about systemic racism in public safety.
Describing with resolution copper, the tracks don't have.
All right, folks, you have a great day. Don't forget to tell your loved ones how much you appreciate them. And let's make it a productive day. Thank you for watching.